Okay, team, second attempt to show how the BitFocus companion software creates buttons on the Stream Deck to navigate the lights in real time. You can see here we have the live feed of the church. I'm doing this remotely from the house. So on this screen here, you'll see this is the outline or the layout of the Stream Deck, where these buttons on the screen correlate to the buttons that are down here in the corner here that you can see now. I've added the blackout, the lights out transition, the speaker lights, and the worship lights here. And then over here we have the control laptop that's sitting on the cabinet. And so now we can change the lights remotely. And I'm going to give you the scenarios of how all these lights work in tandem. And so the first thing that I want to point out is that the blackout button, this is what we usually press when we want to turn the lights off. It's up here on the screen here. This is the buttons that we want to turn the light system off. And this is not just dimming the lights. What it does, it resets everything back to zero. So we only want to press this during the course of a service if we're turning the lights on at the very beginning and turning the lights off when we're leaving. What it does is it's essentially like a power switch, where if the power switch is off, then no matter what light settings we have, it's not going to work. And so it sets everything to zero. And so we want to make sure that this is on. What I did was I created a secondary button down here for two reasons. One is that remotely getting this top one to work was a pain. But secondarily, we can see when it's being selected down here when it's green. And when it's not green, we know it's not on. This is kind of hard to see sometimes. So when it's green, that means it's on. And so if I try to do anything now, though these things are trying to set the scene, blackout is on, so nothing will come out, right? And so if I hit this, you see how in this screen over here, the lights came on kind of abruptly for worship. So what we want to do is we want to do this at the beginning of the service. We want to make sure that the blackout is off by making sure that this is not green or selected, and that we can see that it's, if it's off or on. So that was a bit of confusion. Sometimes I saw people with the lights. So if you see blackout is green, you know that nothing's going to work no matter what you push. No power is going to the lights. Essentially, that's not exactly technically how it works, but just for our purposes. All right, so make sure that blackout is not green. Blackout is not green. And then we can click on worship. The worship lights or the worship setting comes on. You don't have to click this again to go to the next setting. So I've seen some people, they'll click worship and then they'll click that. Well, that dims the lights back to zero. And so what you want to do is once you go up to the worship setting, then you can click speaker, and it just transitions to the different ones from there. So, and you can go back to worship from here. You don't have to dim the lights at first. I have this scene here, and this is not used a lot lately, but I would like to start using it when we run a bumper video. So for instance, when a bumper video runs, we want people to focus on what's happening on the screens. And so we can hit this, and that just fades it to black while the bumper videos are running. And then when we get back into the scene, we can go back to worship or to the speaker or wherever. And again, these are just preset settings. We can make as many preset settings as we would like for different services, different colorways, that kind of stuff. But this is just the basics of the way that the lighting system works. And so with that being said, we now have all of those buttons working on the Stream Deck. And so the worship light one is here. And if I hit test, you see that it transitions to the worship light setting. And this is equivalent to a button push. I'm on the computer, but this is equivalent to a button push. I don't know if you can see it from here, but if I click on speaker lights here and then I hit test, you can see it kind of blink there. And we can go transitions and it brings it up, and I can hit test. And so it's showing that remotely all of these things are working. If I hold test here, you can see blackout was there. And I can hit this again and test and it goes away. But blackout is there. So as you can see, all of these things work, and the screen is moving remotely from the Stream Deck. So anyway, that's the video. And I hope this is helpful. And I hope when we're shorthanded and we don't have people all over the place to do things, we can start using macros or this for the camera operator to dim the lights and things of that nature. And so I hope this is helpful to the workflow. All right. Talk to you guys later.